everybody. Oh, should try a microphone. Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks MLB update. Great to have you all with us today. We got a lot to talk about. We missed the show last week as we were away and out of town. Actually, it's a little redundant, but we were a little out of town, but we're back and better than ever. Just kidding. Oh, God, guys, we got a lot to talk about. I want to thank everybody watching today or later on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you catch us. Thanks to the groups you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen. John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings from America's Pastime, The Love of Baseball. Who else? Florida Gang over at Bottom Line Sports. They do some great podcasts, which are live and then rebroadcast, I think, on Facebook, but live on Let's Talk Sports. They've got a lot of great content over there, as well as we have with the group of podcasters I hang with, the former National Streaming Sports Gang. Ken Krause over at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. Special quick shout out anyway, to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland. Pittsburgh focused, but national footprint. Been a guest on the Sports Corner with him and Smoking Jim Frazier, which is on every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, so check that out. And check out our show from this morning, Jack and Keith's Weekend Update. We covered a lot of pro football. We talked some baseball that we'll also cover today, and some college football and our picks for college football, Jack and mine. And we'll talk today about Clayton Kershaw's retirement, impending retirement. A great career, one definitely a Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and maybe one of the last guys we're going to see win 200 games. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Red Hot Mariners. They did lose their winning streak. Their winning streak was stopped, if you will. I think 10 games. They won 11 out of 12. Those they came right back with victory, and they are tied with the Astros, who've also won 3 in a row now. Going to be a nice race the last 9 games with these two teams and a big weekend series for them. Mariners playing great baseball, and I do not want to see them as a Yankee fan in the postseason. We'll talk about the Yankees and Mets, where they are. Decent wild card cushion with 9 games to go, but not insurmountable. And the kid core in pitching is helping both these teams become re-energized, if you will. I got some music playing yet. I'm sorry. Apologize for that. Ohtani says he'll play the outfield, and if asked in the playoffs, do not look forward to that happening. I understand why they want to do it, but don't look forward to it. We'll talk about some of that. Christian Yelich gets to 100 RBIs. We'll talk about Cal Raleigh's great season, whether it makes him an MVP over Aaron Judge. We'll look at their numbers, if you will. Again, the teams that are hot, the Mariners, 11 out of 12. The Blue Jays, 7-3. Got a 3-game lead still over the Yankees with 9 to play. Indians, 9-1. Only 3.5 behind the Tigers, who have gone 3-7 the last 10. They've lost a 9.5-game lead in about 10 days. The Angels stink. Pirates, 1-9. Rockies, 1-9. Too late to become the all-time record holder for losses, but to throw a number out that Drew loves, these run differentials. They have the worst run differential in the history of baseball, the history of modern baseball. There was a team from post-1900 that did have a bigger run differential, 404, beating the old record by about 80. So we'll talk about all of that today and more. Who would have thought, before the season, we'd be looking at the Brewers with the best record in baseball, the Dodgers playing in the wild card round, Ohtani playing in the outfield potentially. Again, don't get excited. That's not going to happen. The guy hasn't played the outfield in about, 4 years. You don't just throw him out there in the middle of in a playoff series. Hello, Danny. Speaking of the Dodgers, how are you? Good Dodger afternoon. It's good to listen. You get to celebrate, and the Dodgers are going to make the playoffs. Maybe they make a run to the World Series in Clayton Kershaw's curtain call. But you got to be excited, I guess, as a I don't know if excited is the right word. You got to be excited or happy for Clayton Kershaw. He's ending his career where he started it. It did look for a time last winter that might not happen. Not enough guys get to go out like Clayton Kershaw's going out. With the team they started with after a decorated 18 season career. And again, it's funny. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer, as I said, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Hall of Fame looks at pitching going forward. Because, there's going to be starters getting in with 100 wins the way we're looking at it now. Hello, AC. Good to have you with us today. Oh, gosh. It's been an interesting 2 weeks since we've talked. The Mariners started growing mustaches and started winning games in bunches. 11 other last 12 to go for out of the playoffs through leading their division. And still with 9 games left, they're still not assured of a playoff spot. I mean, they have them and the Astros. So I would think right now, I think the Yankees are secure. And that might be it in the American League. Let's see, how secure are the Yankees even? As I said, they trail the Blue Jays by 3. They've got a 3-game lead on the Guardians. That's the team formerly known as the Indians. The Astros and the Red Sox. The Red Sox are actually a game and a half only ahead of the Indians. So the Astros, theoretically, you would think, with 9 games left, the Red Sox, Guardians, and Astros are fighting for that last playoff spot. And in the National League, the Cubs have secured a spot. The Padres should be safe with 4-game lead. Again, nothing's for sure, right? And the Mets have gotten a 2-game cushion now, a little bit of breathing room. Not a lot. When we left, it was a half a game. And somehow they're 3-7 in their last 10, but still are holding out over the Reds and the Diamondbacks, both 2 games behind the Mets right now. Once we set our pitching for a playoff run, we'll be fine. 2 of the starters will be in the bullpen. Love Kirsch retirement as a Dodger only 100%. There's not enough of that today, and I'm so happy he got to stay with the Dodgers as a baseball fan, right? And listen, the Dodgers will be fine. They get to play all those games at home in that wild card round. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Ohtani because the DH spot, if they want to use him out of the bullpen, I think he'll start, Danny. I don't know what you might be hearing out there as far as how they plan on lining up their pitchers. I think he may start. I think they want to pitch him out of the bullpen, and that's why he has volunteered to go to right field so they wouldn't lose their DH when he had to come into the game. But then if you use him in relief, is that really the way to go? Because I don't think you can use him back-to-back days, can you, with worrying about his elbow? His arm in general. Yeah, he pitched 5 no-hit innings the other night, and they yanked him. The Dodgers are having very good luck in these games they take into late innings with no-hitters. Yamamoto went into the 9th with a no-hitter a few weeks back, and they lost, I believe, in extra innings. And I think the bullpen carried this game into the 7th. And they end up losing that game as well. So maybe they shouldn't pitch no-hitters anymore. What else is going on? Hold on one second. I want to pull up something here. If I can. I want to pull up something on Judge and Raleigh. You guys put up something. If you can, we'll get to your comments here as well. I want to look. Here we go. That's what I want to look at in a second. Where else you want to go here? Let's see. I agree 100%. You can't, I mean, defense means something. Listen, one of the reasons, and I get the reasoning, and if I'm not mistaken, Dave Roberts kind of blew this off a little bit the other day. But, maybe we can take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. There's 2 things here. I get the reasoning, right? Because if they can play him in the outfield, then they wouldn't lose their DH when he had to come in to pitch in relief. Now, if their plan isn't to pitch him in relief, then it doesn't matter. the issue, if you do start him, again, he hasn't played the outfield as far as I know since at least 2021. And I don't know that he's that great an outfielder anyway. But one of the reasons the Dodgers beat the Yankees, in my opinion, was the play of the Dodgers defense, in particular their outfield. When you compared them to the Yankees outfield defensively and the Dodgers outfield defensively last year in that World Series, it was night and day. The Dodgers, Mookie Betts, I saw hold a couple of guys that would have gotten doubles into singles. Part of that's base running, by the way. But regardless, the Dodger defense in the outfield held the Yankees to singles instead of doubles and doubles instead of triples. And the Yankee outfield didn't do that. Soto wasn't good. Judge had a down series. That was one of the big differences in that series in my mind. Watching every game, right? Good afternoon, JB. Sorry we had to kick your butt last night. Check out JB on the Back It Up Binge podcast. What's AC got here? Can't just ignore losing Willer Abreu to injury is when the Red Sox started falling apart. I'm not ignoring anything, actually. I'm just saying this team, listen, the team did better than I thought they would do this year. He was leading the team in HRs when they got hurt, and with his limited amount of at-bats, I like Roman Anthony, but Weiler is just as important for the future. I'm not sure the Red Sox think the same thing because they haven't signed him the way they have signed Anthony. Maybe they've tried and haven't been successful. I don't know, but listen, the Red Sox haven't had a bad year. I'm not knocking the Red Sox. Quite frankly, the Red Sox and the Yankees have both done better than I expected. So, there's still 9 games to go. A lot can happen, good and bad, right? You still think Judge for the play? Well, you still think Judge for the play in center. I mean, that one, again, that was just a bad play. Judge is going to catch that about 999 times out of 1,000. But I'm thinking more of not just botch plays like that, but more errors of omission, if you will. Soto doesn't play right field the way Mookie Betts played right field last year in that series. So that was a big play, without a doubt. But when you look and you go and look at some of the go back and watch the games and watch some of the base hits the Yankees get that you think, oh my gosh, that could be extra bases. And the Dodger outfield is running the balls down and hitting cutoff men and doing everything you're supposed to do fundamentally. And the Yankees did not. That's why, in my mind, you don't put Ohtani out there in the outfield because he's not. I don't know who's playing right field for them at the moment. But Ohtani's not going to play as good as that guy, and he's just a bad play away from costing them a game. So again, maybe the Dodgers will announce their intentions, or we'll find out as we go, right? I mean, you're always going to see some surprises. Nobody saw the Mets starting Senga in the game one of their series last year. And young pitchers, Senga and Peterson and Holmes have all kind of crashed for the Mets, but they've been picked up by McLean, and they've been picked up by Sprott, however we say his name, and Tonga, who hadn't pitched great the other night in a huge game for the Mets. So a little bit of youth giving them energy. Same thing with the Yankees, excuse me. And Will Warren, who's pitching tonight against the Orioles, and Schleter. I'm going to say Schleter. I don't care if I mispronounce his name because I don't want to say the other. Red Sox are a team of the future. If they keep Abreu, I think if they sign with the Red Sox, that's fine. I mean, I don't know what they'll do with him. I haven't really been following the Red Sox that closely, quite frankly, AC, because, it's been such nip and tuck with the Yankees over the last 2 months. And as far as the future goes, I can't get focused on the future, right? We've got a whole playoff ahead of us. That's where my focus is. But in the offseason, we'll do plenty of talking about teams' futures. There's going to be, listen, there's question marks in a lot of teams' futures. The Yankees included. The Mets included. The Astros seem like they're ready for a complete overhaul there. The Rangers, what are the Rangers going to do to fix this mess? This is the streakiest team in frickin' baseball. I shouldn't say that. The Indians have been streaky. The Rangers have been streaky. The Mariners have been streaky. Mariners might be kicking in gear at the right time, though. I don't want to see this team in the playoffs. They're pitching. Nobody's going to, including the Dodgers. I'm telling you, nobody's throwing out pitching the way this team is in the playoffs. I've been saying that for 2 years. Their hitting is caught up a little bit now. Well, actually, a lot with the pitching, and the pitching's gotten healthy. The pitching wasn't that great all this year as they were hurt, and so the Dodgers. They've had injuries. Everybody has injuries, right? Next man up, survive until you get to October or September, and then we separate the men from the boys. See how many cliches we can talk up in here. Michael Dighton Edwards, there we go. Wish I could listen at work. That work sucks, doesn't it? What a dirty word. Everybody should be able to retire now. Well, not everybody. Somebody's got to keep the system rolling here. But when you get though, thank you for checking in though, Michael, and check out Michael's latest piece on TGI Sports Talk. You can check it out. I believe I shared it to my personal page as well. If I haven't, I will. But check out Michael's latest piece of writing. He's doing a great job. Man, the guy's got away with words. He just really does. Thank you, Michael. Hello, Boston Paul. Just a quick hello on a short work break. Another one's got to work. I'm sorry. Scott Kobe's with us. We missed you on the college football huddle on Wednesday, Scott. Hope your ears weren't burning too much. I put in 2 bets of the Red Sox to miss the playoffs. Team formerly known as the Indians in. That's from a Red Sox fan, AC. AC, you feel like you're throwing in the towel too. Is that true or not? It feels that way with your comments about the future. Like you're resigned to the fact that the Indians, or the team formerly known as the Indians, are gonna pass you. Maybe not. Me too. Is that about work? Red Sox schedule is awful the rest of the season. Tampa, Toronto, Detroit. Well, Detroit right now, I think I'd be happy to play in Detroit. Although Detroit's fighting for their lives, they may blow this. This would be one of the historic blown division races, if you will. And it doesn't feel as dramatic or as tragic, right, as like the Red Sox in 78. Sorry, Scott and AC. Because you're going to make the playoffs anyway. But, I mean, I don't know if I'd be that worried about it. You needed surgery after Wednesday. You needed your surgery after Wednesday. I don't like to talk about people when they're not around, Scott. I kept waiting for you and waiting for you. And then I finally threw you under the bus because that's how I operate. Oh, God. What else is going on in the world of Major League Baseball, guys? Judge and Raleigh, and I don't know why I'm stuttering the way I'm stuttering today, so I apologize. The Judge and Raleigh conversation is going to be quite interesting, right? Raleigh is having a historic season. He's broken all kinds of records for catchers and home runs. He's tied Griffey now for the Seattle record. There's an outside chance he could take a run at 62. He'd have to get really hot in the last 9 games. He needs 6 more. But it's been a historic season. But Judge, even though it feels like Judge has slowed down, right? And I'm looking at Judge maybe to win the batting title here. these guys are very close in whether who's going to be the AL MVP. If Seattle doesn't make the playoffs, that could be what makes the difference. I'm not sure. I mean, Judge has been, it feels like he got hurt a long time ago and that he missed, he did miss some time. I felt like he missed more time than he did. He does have 48 home runs compared to 56. He trails in RBIs. And he's played in, by the way, catching 150 games today as a catcher is amazing. And that's what you have to factor into us as well. He's playing a much more demanding position than Judge. Not that Judge isn't a great fielder. He's stolen more bases. Judge leads in batting average, and he's still got a shot at the batting title. He leads in on base percentage by almost 100 points. That's a lot. And part of that might be the lineup. I don't know. Slugging, he's 90 points ahead there. OPS, which is a very important stat, he's got at least 100-point, almost 100-point lead there. I'm sorry, almost a 200-point lead there. And the OPS plus, I don't really care about when we get into that. And I'm not going to bring up WAR. It's very, it's better for Judge, but to me, that's not going to determine this for me. I think it's a made-up stat, and I'm never going to rely on it. I mean, if you take either one of these guys off, I don't think you make a bad choice here. Either one of these teams, these guys, would take them off their specific team, and neither one of them is going to be making the playoffs. Both of them are good defensive players. Morale might be the best defensive catcher in the American League. Judge is one of the best right fielders in the American League. So the only place that Judge really is making a difference is batting average. That's also driving, obviously, and walks, I would say. They don't have walks up here, but I'm going to guess he's probably got a decent lead in walks as well. I don't think you can go wrong. Not sure what you guys think, but just throw it at me and tell me. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Because I just clicked out of here. Paul's going back to work. See you later. Good stop. Thanks for stopping in. Danny says it's the Tigers. Not much history. That's why it isn't reviving much attention. Well, you don't think the Tigers have history? If I'm reading that right. Tigers have a pretty good history. Not much of it recent. They've been in the World Series a couple times with Jim Leland, or once anyway with Jim Leland. They won a World Series 40 years ago. And before that, I mean, they won back-to-back Worlds or went to back-to-back World Series in 67 and 68. No, not 67. That was a Red Sox. Sorry. I guess that was a Cardinals who went back-to-back. But they did beat the Cardinals in 68. And they won. They've had plenty of great players and plenty of history. Again, you might have to go back a ways, but just because it's a ways back, I don't think we can erase it. But today, does that brand carry a lot of weight nationally? I guess to Danny's point, probably not. They're not the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox even, probably. I did say that already. I think Raleigh gets to 60 and Seattle wins the division. Raleigh for MVP. Hey, listen, I'm not going to – a lot of Yankee fans are going to scream and yell when that happens. I will not scream and yell, I promise you. Because either one of these guys, I don't think you can make a wrong choice. And if Judge wins it, please don't scream and yell. I mean, point out one reason. And I got nothing against your comment here at all, as I said, Scott. But point out one reason if Judge won, you would say that Raleigh got screwed. I don't think you can. They did win their division. If that matters to you, kind of matters to me, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of baseball anymore. So, I mean, there's a good chance if they don't win the division, they don't make the playoffs. There's that possibility too. So I think Raleigh's going to win, quite frankly, but we'll find out. And again, I wouldn't have an argument either way. But everyone be beware of the career year. A lot of guys come back down off that year for sure. I agree 100%. Buy or beware next year if you're in fantasy baseball, or even if you're the Seattle Mariners, especially when you're a catcher. I mean, he's going to catch. I mean, I don't know how many games they're going to be able to give him off the rest of the way. He's probably going to play, and I don't know that he caught all these games. He's played 150 games. He's probably going to play 9 more games, whether it's at catcher or DH. How do you afford to sit him down in this pennant race? You can't. So he's probably going to play 159 games, which as a catcher, again, not knowing how many off the top of my head of these were. Let's see if I can see. At catcher. Yeah, I'm not seeing it off the top of my head. We'll take a look at it if it becomes a topic here. Hello, Michael Gott in the UK. Good to have you with us. Going towards the end of the season for some teams, which GMs are on the hot seat and which you could see changes in Colorado 100%. Pittsburgh. Ben Sherrington has not got it done in Pittsburgh. The Nationals have already made their move, but I think you're going to see more to come in the nation's capital. Otherwise, I mean, the Marlins they've had a decent run here to finish the season, but still, I don't see real great signs of them moving forward. They're always volatile in the front office. The White Sox just kind of made a move, so I don't think they're going to do anything. I would watch the Twins situation. Might be it. Maybe Kansas City, as their moves didn't pan out this year. We'll take a closer look at that as we get into the offseason, because I haven't spent a lot of time, thinking about that. Same thing. I mean, again, managers could be in trouble as well. If we have GM changes, you could have manager changes, as a lot of general managers want to have their own guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in some places. I think places ripe for a managerial change are the Twins. The Angels might, depending on Ron Washington's health. The Orioles. The Rays, maybe they move on from Cash. I think they love him there, though. The Royals and Quantrill, I mean, that's possible. Who else? The Cardinals, I would guess, are going to make a move with Marmol. And I would look for potentially a change in Atlanta with a retirement potentially as well, or maybe not based off this bad season. He may not want to move on. We'll see. Scott would say both guys deserve it this year. I'd like to see a co-MVP. Possible. We've seen it in my lifetime. I remember 1979, Keith Hernandez and Willie Stargell. I'm trying to remember if there's been any others that I'm not thinking of. There you go, right there. Thank you, Danny. Throws that up there. Is that the only time in history? We could see history in the AL, you're saying. It's funny. I was thinking there could have been one other time, but there's a reason I couldn't come up with it. That was a great season, by the way. I mean, bad for the Yankees. I mean, we lost Thurman. The Yankees were coming off back-to-back World Championships, and it was just a bummer of a summer as a Yankee fan for a lot of reasons. Losing, finishing third. I believe they finished third. Wasn't even major among them. But that 79 season and the We Are Family Pirates were a lot of fun for a baseball fan, for me. To see a guy in the twilight of his career, and Willie Stargell, come up with big hit after big hit. I mean, I want to say he had around 28 homers, 89 RBIs, right? Not overwhelming numbers. Keith Hernandez may or may not have won the batting title that year, been close to it. I know he had a tremendous year that year. But Stargell did what he did, and I don't know, probably 400 at bats. Probably never going to see that again, right? I mean, he was given the MVP for as much for his leadership as for those numbers. I mean, every hit it seems Stargell got was a big hit. He did in the postseason, which didn't play into the MVP award, of course, but what a tremendous postseason he had. And he gave me some joy to watch some fun baseball in that October as a Yankee fan. I remember I was just 19 years old, but it was a sucky summer, man. The Thurman thing still lingers. Hey, Lacey. Cat just came to say hi. Speaking of Kansas City, up till the early... Hello, Chris. How are you, by the way? Our Canadian correspondent. Up till the early 2000s, there were only a handful of players who hit 30 home runs. Welcome Vinny to the grown list now. So you're talking about players in Kansas City who have hit 30 home runs. Interesting. Brett, great point. Again, this team was always built, at least again in their heyday. And even when they won a World Series just 10 years ago or so against the Mets, the team was built more around speed and extra base hits. They built teams off their based on what their ballpark allowed. Those teams in the 70s, I mean, they were gap hitters, and they hit some home runs. Brett would hit some home runs, John Mayberry, some others. But you had guys like McRae and Brett and Willie Wilson just hit the ball in the gap and run. Only time. Pretty cool. Good catch, Danny. We're on the same wavelength there, and that's sad for you that we're on the same wavelength, I promise you. Many old timers, I do remember there being some controversy again because of how much or how little, however you want to look at it, that Stargell played. Where are his numbers that year? How close am I? I said 28 homers and 89 RBIs. Let's see, 1979 NL MVP. Let's see if I can pull up some numbers. He was 39 years old at that time. Well, he won the MVP of the World Series as well. He might have been the MVP of the NL Championship Series too. I'm not sure. But here was the vote. 216 to 216. Stargell actually got 10 first place votes to 4 for Hernandez. I love these conversations going back in time. Stargell had 424 at bats, so I wasn't too far off there. He had just 119 hits, so Hernandez had 100 more hits. He only hit 11 homers. Willie hit 32, so I was wrong there. He had 82 RBIs. I was close. Stolen bases, Hernandez actually stole 11. He hit 344 compared to 281. He had a better on-base percentage. Willie had a better slugging percentage. And they weren't looking at OPS at that time, but it was very close, 0.26 difference. That's, again, Willie got this for leadership. And when you're looking at MVPs, in my mind, it's not just about the numbers you see on the page. It's also the eye test of who's a leader. If you take that team, if that guy away from that team, how do they do? Now, obviously, you took Hernandez away from that team. The Cardinals didn't win. So I already start in a place where Stargell was the leader of leaders. When you think about a guy leading a team to victory, the ultimate victory, I can't think of an instance of a guy that embraces that or it's the word I'm looking for. Is the face of that. than Willie Stargell in 1979. He put that team on his back. He willed them to victory. That wasn't a great baseball team. It was a very good one. He had a bunch of guys having some career years, and they fed off of Willie Stargell. Pirates pitching staff, Candelaria, Blyleven, Roden, Kent DeCulvey was one of the top 3 in baseball that year. That year, for sure. Blyleven was a really good pitcher. Bert's ignored my request to come on his show, and I chat with, and I know his ex Patty checks in on our show now and again. So Patty, hi. Bert was a little bit overrated in my mind. Great pitcher. He's one of the ultimate accumulators. Didn't even get to 300 wins. I know he didn't play on a lot of great teams. And what was he on this team? He's like 12-5, maybe. Probably not going to find it here. DeCulvey was 5th in the Cy Young that year. I like Bert. Maybe I'm colored because he won't, or my opinion's colored because he won't come on my show, or wouldn't. Rick Roden was a good pitcher. Candelaria had a lot of talent, but again, another guy who never seemed to really get over the hump and become great. And Roden and Candelaria later pitched for the Yankees as well. Chris remembers as far back as 1990. Chris the Whippersnapper. Maybe you say snipper above the border. Here was 8 years old, but you were 8. Are you kidding me, dude? There's no way you're 30. Maybe you are. Are you? Oh, wait a minute. That wouldn't be right. You'd be. So how old would that make you? 82. So you'd be 40. Well, maybe that's right. You are a whippersnapper, man. But Dunrust cards taught me teams used to have team MVPs. Wow. Oh, there's a lot of things we used to have that we don't have today. What else? Let's go back to 12-5. That's what I thought. Yeah. 237 innings pitched, 4 complete games. That's when people were still completing games. So he only completed 4 out of, I'm going to say 30-some starts, 37 starts. That's horrible for 1979, by the way. But they had a great bullpen. Chuck Tanner, maybe he was the father of shortening the leash on starters. I thought it was Sparky Anderson, but maybe it was Chuck Tanner. And all this talk I circle back to Kershaw, right? Who's finishing up an 18-year career. Is anybody ever going to win 200 games again? The closest guy right now with 153, and he's 34 years old, is Garrett Cole, and I'm not sure that he's going to win 47 more games. If he comes back healthy and pitches 5 years, yeah, he'll most likely win 200 games. Well, who's going to do it after that? Chris Sale with 143 at 36. Charlie Morton, 147. He's 41. No. Sonny Gray's got 124. Darvish, 114. These guys are all 36 or better. Zach Wheeler, 113, 35. What? I mean, again, it used to be 300 wins. You automatically were in the Hall of Fame. Again, and I'm not saying numbers are everything. This is a perfect example. Are you never going to take starters in again because nobody wins 200 games? Doubtful. But you're going to see guys with 125 wins in 15 years making a Hall of Fame. It's going to be weird for me. And a 4-man rotation back then. How many innings you say he pitched? 237 innings. He only completed 4 games. That's interesting in itself. But a lot of guys were pitching 280, 300 innings in the 70s. Cal Catfish, I want to say, probably had 300 or close to 300 5 or 6 years in a row. Going out big, Kershaw's 10-2, pitched well. Yeah, he's a better player than Messina, though. And again, I watched Messina up close in that year. If I'm not mistaken, he won his 20th on the last day of the season. But it was only 21 season. Not in the Hall of Fame. It's going to be interesting to see what some of these pitchers with 250 wins or more, and there's a few of them that are not in the Hall of Fame, if they now get considered in retrospect by the Veterans Committee, whatever we call that thing today. Because fewer and fewer contemporary pitchers are going to be going in as we go. Again, there's still a few to come. But as we get 5 years from now and start looking at these guys, Verlander, Kershaw, and Scherzer are locks for the Hall of Fame. But then when you look at the guys who are really kind of an era behind, say 5 years, the 34-year-old-ish, who's going to make it? Cole? Probably. Zach Wheeler? I mean, Zach Wheeler is likely to end up with less than 150 wins, depending on his arm issues. He could potentially end up with less than 150 wins and be a contender for the Hall of Fame. I don't know what. Jacob deGrom? He doesn't even have 100. So who are we going to – maybe the starters stop making a Hall of Fame. Maybe starters are going to be like relievers were for the longest time, where very few of them got in. I don't know. Two guys I would look at for 200 wins is Garrett Crochet and Skubal if they stay healthy. Let's see, where are they on the list right now? I don't see it. The problem is they're not always going to pitch as many innings as they do now, right? They're going to get they're going to get injured. They're going to get whatever. I mean, are they even on my list right here? I go down to 68 wins. Where are these guys now? Does anybody know before I try to find them on my list here? I mean, I didn't have young guys on this list in the 60s yet. Skubal, 54. He's 28 years old, Scott. If he averages 10 wins a year for the next 10 years, he's going to win 150 games. To get to 200, he's got to average 15 wins the next 10 years. He'll be 38 years old. I don't think so. 15 is a lot of victories to get year after year after year now. Unless something drastic changes in the way we approach starting pitchers. And believe me, I'd like to see it change, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Who'd you mention? Crochet? I don't know. Where is he at? He might be younger. I can't even find him. Tell me how many wins he's got. There's big time buzz in Boston. If the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, Alex Cora could get the blame and be replaced. I feel like they've tried to blame him the last couple of years anyway, for whatever Red Sox failures there were. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't think Alex Cora will be out of work long if they decide to get rid of him, unless he decides he wants to take a year off. I think Alex Cora will get a job in a heartbeat. 25 and 24? How old is he? Yeah, he didn't make my list because it cuts off at 42. Yeah, that's 28 years old. He'd have to average 15 wins a year for 10 years and be 38. I don't see it happening. And again, Scott, not because he's not good, because of the way starting pitchers are used. Yeah, Crochet's 26, so give him 12 years. He needs 180 wins. Plus, there's no way he stays healthy for 12 years. Probably neither one of them stay healthy, because we know we're going to baby these guys, and then the first time you push them a little bit, they're going to get hurt. Don't get me going on that whole thing. What else is going on? By the way, congratulations to Christian Yelich. You know, we don't look at as a great player anymore. 100 RBIs. Leading that Milwaukee team. Great job. Scott's basically saying those two guys have a very outside shot, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you found two guys with an outside shot, and it's very outside for sure. I mean, I look down this list. I can't. You know, you got guys in here with 34 years old with 50 wins. I'm shocked at some of these numbers. It's amazing. So again, I'm not sure the starting pitchers don't become like relief pitchers were until the last, 15 years, whatever it was, when we started electing quite a few. Yamamoto has more of a chance at 200. You see, I don't know how many years I kid. DeGrom's 37 years old, right? Hard to believe. I was just trying to think, who were the guys he came up with? It was him and Harvey. Was there three of them? Mets have done this a few times, right? Remember when they produced Bill Pulsifer, Jason Isringhausen, and there was a third guy that were going to be, the next great thing, and none of them became great starters. Isringhausen had a decent career as a reliever. Syndergaard, yes, thank you. I think it was Syndergaard was in that triumvirate, if you will. I mean, that just goes to show you that they are wrecking young pitchers. There's three who could have been really great pitchers. DeGrom is a great pitcher. Well, he's never healthy. How are you ever going to trust this guy to, make it through a season? This year they've had to baby him. He's had a pretty good year, but they've had to baby him through this season. And what is he? 37? Is that what you said? 37. Shocking. Seems like only yesterday he was a kid with the hair flowing and throwing just BBs in the All-Star game, if you remember. It was exciting to watch. That's when it was so fun to watch an All-Star game. Strasburg's another one that could have been great. People like to blame Davey Johnson, I think, for that. I'm not sure why. I don't remember the entire story. You know who ruins these pitchers? I'm going to tell you again. The organizations themselves, the way they put kid gloves, they treat them all with kid gloves from the time they get them until the time they get to the majors, until they hurt their arm and they're gone forever. Just let them go out there and pitch and build up strength in your arm the old-fashioned way, by throwing the baseball. Nolan Ryan talked about this Sunday, I think. We just saw a stat, or maybe it was Wednesday night, maybe we talked about it. At 42 years old, Nolan Ryan pitched 5 consecutive games throwing 150 pitches or more. Really? 750 pitches. It would take these guys 6 months to throw 750 pitches today. Yeah, we just talked about Crochet. He's got 25 career wins at 26 years old. That's 180 away, 174 away. He's got to average 17 over the next 10 years, or 15, just like I said about Scoble. He'd have to average 15 over the next 12 or 13 years when he's going to be 38, 39. He's never going to stay healthy that long. Or be allowed to pitch enough to win 174 games. I may be off a game. Don't hate me for my math or lack of math. Yeah, maybe more, Scott. Maybe more. Maybe more. And again, this is just my opinion. These organizations have nobody but themselves to blame for it. You tell me why guys like Palmer and Catfish, Ryan, Seaver, these guys all have long careers pitching a lot of innings. This isn't rocket science. I just named a few, by the way. Marshall, Gibson. I go on and on. Just tell guys to go out there and throw as hard as they can and, whatever. When your arm hurts, come out. 100 pitches. Remember the 75 World Series, Louis Tiant threw a boatload of pitches. Yeah. It is a shame. Nolan, yes, it's another great point. 235 pitches in one game he threw. I saw a number. This is like in the 70s. I think it was Tiant against Ryan in the same game. Ryan pitched 11 innings. Tiant pitched 10, and they threw about 400 pitches between them. Keep babying the pitchers. And God bless Nolan Ryan. When he was running the Rangers, he tried to change this. He tried his best to again, one guy. Maybe it takes one guy to have success, and then it will become a thing to actually let pitchers pitch. Novel idea. But he didn't get the chance to do it for long enough. And do you consider Louis Tiant one of the most underrated? I do. I've had this debate with some players. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's not a slam dunk. But Tiant had like two careers. He was really, really good in the 60s with Cleveland, then Minnesota, and then he hurt his arm. That was his first career. He was really good. Then he came back with the Red Sox and pitched some of the biggest games in baseball history. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Did interview Louis on my show a couple of years ago, before a lot of you guys were following me. It was fun. It's kind of hard keeping him on track, but we miss him. His son Dan was instrumental in getting on my show, and I always thank Dan for that. Poke the cantankerous retired guy. Right. This is like a dunk tank up here, Chris. Show needs more smoking, yelling, and 4 fingers of scotch. It's funny. I get myself going on this pitching thing, man. Since 2005, 149 pitches in a game is the most. That's probably that number sounds very specific. Like it may have been Johan Santana attempted no-hitter. Am I right? Am I right, Danny? What do you think? Which, by the way, the Mets blamed Terry Collins for leaving him in there. Keith has all night of prep for shows. I think that's way too much time. Yeah, I sit here and I muse all day about the way I want baseball to be again. Let's look at this weekend's matchups because we got a big one. We got a big one in Houston and Seattle coming up. Where's my schedule? Lost it. All right, hang on a second. Here we go. Atlanta's at Detroit. Atlanta's hot, Detroit. Watch out. Detroit trying hard not to blow this lead these last 2 weeks. That'll be Elder against Morton. The Cubs, who have clinched a spot against the Reds, who are still trying to track down the Mets. It'll be Amannaga, another name I cannot say, against Nick Lodello. That game's on MLB. The Athletics will be at Pittsburgh. That's the broken windshield special of today. If you want to know what that is, look me up. Severino against Mitch Keller. The Yankees in Baltimore. Yankees still trying to chase down the Blue Jays. Still big games. Will Warren against Trevor Rogers. Washington will be at the Mets. Mets trying to stave off the Reds and the Diamondbacks, who have come out of nowhere. Boston will play at Tampa. Crochet against Rasmussen. The Padres and the White Sox. Dylan Cease against Davis Martin. Blue Jays against the Royals. Max Scherzer against Michael Lorenz. Again, the Toronto's trying to hold off the Yankees. Miami will be at Texas. Texas just about done. That's Junk against Maul. The team formerly known as the Indians at the Twins. Indians trying to track down those Tigers and or a wild card spot. Messick at Lopez. Imagine if the Tigers not only blow this 3.5 game lead, but don't make the playoffs. AJ Hinch would get fired. I like him. Bring him to New York. Seattle is Houston, the biggest series of the weekend. Tied for first place right now in the West. Wu against Brown. Nice matchup there. The Angels will be at the Rockies. We got a couple of broken windshield specials. Milwaukee will be at St. Louis. Mizorowski against Gray. The Phillies against the Diamondbacks. Big game for the Diamondbacks. Phillies are probably just getting ready for the playoffs. That's going to be Walker against Nelson. And the Giants still alive against their bitter rival, the Dodgers, on Apple TV at 10:10. Some horrible production value there, but Robbie Ray against the retiring Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw going to be in that rotation, Danny, for the playoffs. Let's take a look. Yamamoto, Glasnow. If you're going to start 4 guys, are you going to put Ohtani and pitch him out in relief or start him? Because one of these other guys has got to go to the bullpen. Either Glasnow, Snell, or Kershaw is going to have to pitch out of the bullpen if Ohtani does indeed start. And he's going to be, again, he's only going to pitch 4 or 5 innings probably. So maybe you have to do that. We'll see. I believe Edwin Jackson. Who's Edwin Jackson? But I don't remember the question. Edwin Jackson pitched for like every team in the major leagues, I think. Go Mariners. I don't want to see him in playoffs, but I like this team a lot. I got to tell you guys. That's not only a broken windshield special. That's a stealth tires special. Angels and Rockies. 404 run differential to the negative. To use a stat Drew loves. He's not here today. That is the worst in the history of modern baseball by 80 runs. Blue Jays better watch it again against the Royals. I agree. The Blue Jays, Kansas City's had their hair down now, being out of the wild card stretch. Loose set of boxers can swing. Kirsch will be a starter. Ohtani in the bullpen. Going to be interesting when he comes in because you're going to lose your DH. So that's going to be interesting. 49 pitches, 149. Oh, Edwin Jackson. I got you. There you go. Thank you, Scott. It's funny because I know that, God, who's the guy I just brought up for the Mets? Johan Santana did that, roughly that number when he was trying to pitch a no-hitter. God forbid we should try to make history. All right, guys, been a good show. Thanks for tuning in. Danny, Scott, Chris, great stuff today. AC, great to have you with us. I already mentioned Danny. Who'd I miss? Rick was with us today as well. Anybody I missed, I apologize. Anybody who didn't speak up, thanks for tuning in. I do see our June out there for sure. But you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy a lot of this. It's a great time of year. College football, pro football, baseball stretch. Love it. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talks MLB Update. You guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye.